We're going to do a special episode today for either beginners or like you're kind of new to CrossFit or maybe really new, maybe just thinking about doing it. And we have some tips for you
I think this is such a great episode
based on
because
experience.
based on my experience, so people feel like they have some ideas going in,
Hmm.
what to not what to expect, but maybe just some tips from a couple of the older ladies.
Yeah, based on our experience.
For some of the maybe older ladies, older men that
Yeah.
haven't been, into a hard workout for
Hmm.
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this could be all ages except probably not 20s unless you just haven't done anything your whole life. And then our advice will be for you too.
Yes.
And that's totally cool. Yeah, if you have never done sports or been athletic, we still think CrossFit's for you, and our advice probably will help you even if you're just 25. But probably more of our advice will be for like if you're more like our decades, 40s and 50s, 30s too. You never know.
Yes.
All
So I think
right.
this is a very needed episode for sure. And I'm super stoked to be talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with your first piece of advice or tip?
Sure, I will do that. My first one, I think, is going to be just like set yourself a schedule and stick
Mm,
to it. Because if you decide to try it out and not commit to anything, I mean, you might be, I don't want to say this and discourage anyone, but you might be sore for a week.
hmm. Yep.
um, Despite that, you literally can, even if you don't feel like you can go back, you can. And within 10 minutes, you'll feel better for moving even if
Yes.
you are sore. So, for example, when I started, I was doing like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that was helpful. And I was really consistent. And I found that, there were sometimes people that would come for a bit and then they stop coming and they come back. And, I actually remember this one woman she was like, "Oh my gosh, she got so good," like thinking I got so
Hmm.
good, which I really didn't. But the coach pointed out, she's like, she comes 3 times a week, like every week,
Hmm.
every single week. And so it really helps when you have that consistency.
Yeah.
You'll see changes really quickly too.
Yes. When you stick to that consistent
Hmm.
time of showing up,
Yeah.
choosing to show up for yourself.
Yeah, you'll get in shape. I mean, I just remember being amazed within like 6 weeks. I was like, I have muscles I did not have.
Check me out. My first one would be open to feedback
Mhm.
because you're going to be potentially in a very brand new situation with a lot of new movements. I remember really only feeling comfortable with a PVC pipe for a
Mhm.
while for doing Olympic lifting type things because I didn't really even understand the mechanics of
Mhm.
what's happening first. Oh, those things are happening at the same time.
Mhm.
And really listening to those cues that the coaches are giving to people around you because um, they might pertain to you. I remember the first time someone or the coach at the other place telling me the reason they didn't have mirrors was because they want you to be aware of where your body is in space. And that's quite new to a lot of people if they've only gone to maybe big box type gyms.
Mhm.
And so just being open to feedback because I know when I end up seeing maybe a video of myself doing something, I'm like, oh, wow, I was leaning way far back in that, but I didn't notice that in the moment. So
Yeah.
just being willing to accept, like, okay, wait, what can I do better? And being
Yeah.
open to the feedback.
Yeah. I honestly can't even imagine that our listeners are not open to feedback. I think it's like people that have a big background. Well, I think it's more guys that are not
I was
open
gonna
to
say I'm
feedback.
gonna be very stereotypical, and I think
Yeah.
it's dudes.
Yeah, that's what they say. Guys have a lot more injuries in CrossFit because they
Oh.
don't pay as much attention to doing it right. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think women are in general, very open to feedback and open to believing that they are not doing it right, even when they
Yeah.
are,
Yes.
or when we are. But yeah, that's a good point though. I mean, definitely like be paying attention and
Mhm.
yeah, doing what the teacher says, the
Yes.
coach says, Howie. Um, yeah, in general, I mean, hopefully you do have coaches that know what they're doing.
Right.
They should.
Yeah, I do. I know as I was talking about that, I'm like, well, maybe women don't necessarily have that problem, but there can be that point of when you have some ego, maybe, or you, so we don't call it the ball of shame. I don't now remember what we call it, but when people maybe need to be reminded that they have to go a little bit deeper in their squat
Mm.
and you bring out a wall ball. So your booty has to
Oh.
like touch that.
Oh, that's
There's no
funny.
shame in having those little cues to really reinforce because it takes your body time to really make those neurological connections to do
Mhm.
it correctly. So
Yeah.
that would be my first one.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Very important. Let's see. Okay. Here's one. Sometimes the warm up's gonna feel really hard.
Right?
And I mean, one thing to know is that the warm up always is harder than when because you're warming up. It just feels like, oh, it feels hard. And if you are older, it does take you longer to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing to know is like, feel free to scale the warm up. And
Mm-hmm.
for sure, like if you're just beginning, I mean, using a lighter barbell for quite a while, like the other day, I
Mm-hmm.
was like doing snatches and I thought I really should have used the 22-pound barbell to warm up
Mm-hmm.
because 35, I mean, whatever we were doing, I can't even remember what I like block snatches or something like that. And, I was only going to be going up to, I think it was like 55, 60 pounds or something. And so warming up with a 35 and we were doing like 10 of each thing. And some of those things are hard. And I'm looking at everyone else is, bigger than me. And I'm like, and can do more weight. And so for them, maybe 35. For me, it's like it was just a huge chunk of, so I
Yeah,
still sometimes scale the warm up. Did I even get around to saying like
you
that
did.
my second tip is scale the warm up?
Yes, you did.
Feel free to scale the warm up. Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if we have this down here, but this kind of goes into another thing, which just in case we don't have, I just want to say like, don't try to prove anything. Like,
Yeah.
feel like
Stay in your
you're
lane.
not trying to, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that does go right into that. And know what your lane is. So
Hmm.
maybe your lane is the training bar for a while,
Hmm.
or you go back to it because you somehow forgot how to snatch. There's no shame in figuring out what am I here for? What's my intention with being here? I'm trying to get more physically fit. I'm not trying to go to the games or win anything or compete with my 26-year-old neighbor next to me. And that can be very hard, especially if you're a perfectionist or if things generally come quite easy to you. And CrossFit might not. Some of the movements in CrossFit might be a lot trickier than you've experienced before. And just knowing, well, that's not what I'm focused on. So we're doing a squat cycle and I've got to do the squats from yesterday. And, I was trying to figure out numbers and I'm like, I wonder what my 1 rep max is. And then I remembered, okay, it didn't even matter to me. I hit 150 once and I was like, oh, that's good. I don't ever have to do that again in my life to make me feel good about myself. So just getting stronger. I mean, it is fun to have like a number and a record or whatever, but I can potentially have a problem to do the comparison of, wow, even though I just hit my 1 rep max, that's like a starting point for whoever at the gym. That's what they warm up with.
Yeah.
And just reminding yourself, why am I here? what's the goal for this week or what's the goal for this month? Maybe the goal is that you're just there for a month. You just show up and you try to do the best you can. So staying in that lane of what's appropriate for you and your body at that time and your strength and your mobility, that's a huge one. Yeah, you don't have to be trying to like outlift your neighbor just because.
Mhm.
And that's part of the reason CrossFit's so cool is
Yeah.
because you can have all that variety in one class, kind of all doing something very, very similar.
Yeah.
It's fun.
For most of us, you're right. I mean, it's really good to know why you're doing it. And for most of us, it's like we're doing it because it's the best way to stay in shape. It's the best fitness and it's the most fun, we think,
Yeah,
because yeah, you're in classes where they're always different every
always
day,
different. Yeah.
so it's just really fun. And yeah, there's no point in comparing yourself to anyone. Like, it's not just like, don't compare yourself to the 20 something year olds. It's also
Hmm.
like, for me, don't compare yourself to the person your age who's been doing it twice as long,
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, or, there's always people just different, different sizes and shapes and ages. And it's like, literally, we're all different. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's very humbling because when you're like, whoa, you can see somebody just keep adding plates and then you find out that they lifted for like a decade.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, strength
yeah.
does it for the most part, strength is just a function of time.
Yeah. It's kind of
Time
nuts.
time and, days weight lifted or
Yeah.
whatever,
Effort. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting that
Yeah.
and kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the consistency really pays off because you're like, "Wow, I keep just doing heavier," and
Hmm.
I mean, obviously that can't go on forever, but it goes on long enough that you can have a few good years enjoying it.
Well, I actually think that that kind of goes right into the one I thought of. It's okay to not do a movement if you don't feel comfortable or confident.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I guess, you know how there might be people doing certain pistols, let's say.
Mm,
Don't force yourself. And I'm not saying people get hurt doing pistols, but don't force yourself to do something that you're really like, I just don't think I can do that. Like
yeah, if
ask
you
for a
feel
scaled.
unsafe.
Yeah. Ask for a
Yeah.
scaled version. Never just be like, well, I guess I got to do that because everyone else is. No,
Mhm.
chances are there's like 5 other things that you could possibly be doing. So like advocate for yourself and tell the coach,
Yeah.
like, I don't feel confident do that because maybe you do need like a bridge step in between, what you think that you're comfortable, confident doing, and then what they're doing or something. But
Yeah.
just being, I guess, open and then to saying, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah. I would go so far as to say the coach should be giving
Yeah.
options there. I mean, I mean, especially I know you're just using that
I
as
know
an
it just
example,
came out of
but
my head.
like, yeah, for something hard, especially, like, yeah, there should be a lot of scaling options discussed.
Yes. Yeah.
um, yeah, these classes are usually not so big that,
You
they're
get
gonna
lost in the
overlook.
shuffle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, definitely, yeah, I would agree as far as safety. You don't want to. There's no reason to risk your safety. However, it is fun to do new movements, and so just because you might be feeling a little bit uncertain or unconfident, I wouldn't say don't try it in those cases. Because like we are here to learn and grow, and
Hmm.
it can be fun and things can be scary, but like that sometimes is more reason to do them,
Yeah.
obviously not to like, you know, put yourself in jeopardy, but if it's just a little bit like I'm a little scared to do this, like,
Hmm.
hey, you can challenge yourself most of the
Yes.
time.
You can definitely challenge yourself.
Well, this kind of segues into you can challenge yourself every time, but you don't have to kill yourself every workout. Like
Yes.
these are hard and they, it just the nature of keeping time and all that stuff. It does encourage you to go really hard.
Hmm.
And but if you're going, especially if you're going to be going every day or something, you don't need to or want to really go absolutely as hard as you can every day,
Yeah.
because that's not going to be sustainable, especially as we get older and we need more recovery time.
There's no reason to go ham every day.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice a week
Mhm.
if you're getting sufficient carbs and protein and sleep, maybe.
Yeah, and that's right, like, to take into account how you're feeling that day. That's
Hmm.
really important. So, on a day you're feeling great, yeah, that's like a definite, sure, go ham or whatever,
Hmm.
but if you're just like, "Ooh, I didn't sleep so well," or, just feeling emotionally low or anything else, like, just kinda, you know, just go in and move and,
Mm.
just kinda have a nice workout. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, you don't have to be
Yeah.
winning. Like, you don't have to beat yourself every
Mhm.
single day, right?
Exactly.
In certain ways, sure. You don't gain strength if you never allow your muscles time to heal after you've broken them
Yeah,
down. Or,
true.
yeah, I don't think that you should be lying on the floor. I like to have a 1 to 5 in my head of, I'm going to go a 1 on this, which is,
Mm.
barely trying, or a 5, which means I might puke later.
Do you ever go
Eh,
one?
I never go 1. I don't know if I've
Yeah,
ever gone 5 either.
yeah,
I don't, it's scary.
yeah. I mean, there's probably nothing wrong with staying from 2 to 4.
No, I really don't think there is. But to have that
Especially
little
3,
gauge.
especially 3 and 4, if you're like most of the time 3 and 4, like you're
Yeah.
gonna get in really good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people can push themselves to do 5s, but I don't think we're those people very
Yeah.
often.
I don't think I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah, and I take when I feel like I'm gonna puke during a workout, I take that as a sign to back off a little. Because
Pump
I
the
don't want
brakes.
to actually.
No, I don't
Yeah.
either. Not interested in that.
Mm-mm.
One of the things I thought would be potentially important for our listeners, our viewers, would be to try several gyms before joining one.
Yeah.
Often gyms will have a special for somebody trying something out. Maybe you get a free visit or a free week to drop in a couple times, but to just bop around and check out different locations, different owners, different coaches, and the different groups of people that go to those gyms because you want to feel like you're home when you go to the gym. And it's going to be a safe place for you to try things that are new to your
Mhm.
body.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's not what I did in the beginning. But, I'll tell you, but I didn't regret where I was for the first year and a half, I think.
Hmm.
I really loved it. However, it closed, which
Yeah.
kind of sucked. That was a little traumatic. And then and then I really shopped around after that. But what I discovered when I shopped around was that first place was way more expensive than every other
Mm,
place in town.
that's funny.
So, I had no idea because I just went to the one place. So
Yeah.
that's something, so yeah, it depends. Like, the cost might be a factor, the distance from your house. And then just like how many other people sort of like you as far as
Hmm.
fitness goes could be a factor. I
Hmm.
mean, the nature of these kind of workouts is that people do get in shape relatively quickly. So when you join, there might not be anyone else that, is out of shape in the way that you might be. But that's okay. You're just gonna, you'll keep going and then there'll be some other new person that comes. That's not necessarily important, but it is kind of nice when they're, at speaking from a 50 something perspective, it's kind of nice when there are other people that are like close to your age, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. Yeah. I love watching all the 20-year-olds throw weights around, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's nice to have people that when I say, oh my gosh, this song came out when I was teaching middle school, that they're not like, I would have been middle school then.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so another thing, I think it's pretty inevitable that issues will come up with your body. Like
100%.
things will hurt, you know, you might get injured or but pay attention when things hurt
Yes.
actually because it could go into an injury and it doesn't necessarily have to, but pay attention, you know, ask people about it. Maybe the coaches know something or can send you to somebody to check it out and do all the mobility, you know, if they're
Yes.
suggesting mobility exercises or even if they're not, like go on YouTube.
Mhm. Get
There's
a foam
some good
roller.
places. Yeah, get a foam roller, other things, do the couch stretch because that is I'm
Huge.
told by, yeah, my physical therapist and coaches like this is the yeah he says like there's one stretch he'd have basically everybody do every day.
It's the
It's
couch
that couch
stretch.
stretch. So if you don't know what
Maybe,
that is, look it
yeah.
up.
Why don't you describe what a couch stretch is?
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah, mobility and taking care of those aches and pains and knowing when it's muscle ache versus like, oh, I hurt something in my joints or ligaments type
Mm.
pain. Because muscle
Yeah.
pain, you're going to have that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, sharp pain definitely is not good.
No, not
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And coaches generally know quite a bit about what's going on and how, oh, your foot hurting might be because of when you did your squat, you are too narrow, or I don't know, I'm making things up because I don't
Yeah.
know, but pay attention to those things and utilize the little tools because they're fun and they're
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. Don't give up because of this. Like, don't be my dad who was like, I think when he was about my age, he started running a little bit
Mm.
and then his knee hurt. So he stopped. And I'm like, you could have gone to see somebody or like, you know,
You probably
tried some
needed new shoes.
exercises. Yeah. Or gotten new, yeah. Like he didn't try anything.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect segue into it's okay to wear running shoes at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Mhm.
You don't need special shoes.
And I don't find that CrossFit places, and I've been not just here, but I went to one in LA. We both went together in Austin. Like I've never been to a CrossFit place where I was like, oh, this is like a fashion show, you know? Like
It
where
also might be what your eye is drawn to, because for me, that's just something that's always in the forefront of my
it is
mind.
a fashion show.
And for a year, I felt a little ashamed of my running shoes in the CrossFit
Oh,
gym.
why did you wear your running shoes for a whole year?
Well, because there were no places like locally to go
Uh,
try them on.
yeah,
And I just didn't know
you didn't get
what
know
I
to
would
get them
want,
online or
or
yeah.
yeah, I didn't. I mean, they were shoes I was going to work out in a lot. I didn't want to take a risk. And then I hate sending things back.
Okay, so I would say yes, it's okay to wear running shoes to start out with, but don't go a year wearing running
No,
shoes.
you don't need
Like
to go a year.
it'll be so much better just even if you don't quite get the perfect CrossFit shoe, just get one because it does make a lot of things easier. Running shoes are not very stable for
No, they definitely don't help with
lifting or
trying to
box
do
jumps or
the rope climb either. They're very
yeah,
slippery for that. Well,
right.
it wasn't a year. I'd started in August, I guess, and this was December. I got shoes.
Mhm.
It seemed like a long time when I was embarrassed about my
Right. Only
shoes.
like 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
But it's
Right.
okay to just start out. Like if you're just trying it out, you don't have to like get all the gear at first.
Right. And shoes are functional. Like, don't, I mean, I'm just comparing it to like, I don't know, what more yoga. I think yoga classes in LA, especially, or dance, like I always felt more self-conscious about are my clothes
Mm,
right, you know, rather
yeah.
than CrossFit. It's like, yeah, whatever.
I wouldn't be able to go to those dance things, I think, because I'd feel so like I'm not going to fit in.
Yeah.
They're going to know. They're going to know I don't do this usually.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to wear a Lululemon.
Ew, so expensive.
Yes.
This one, I guess it would maybe pertain to people. Maybe it's just something that I felt I needed to tell myself because it can be very overwhelming when you're like, wow, I'm not good at any of all this at all. And it's picking one thing that you want to get better at a time. So maybe there's a season where you're like, you know what, I'm going to get a lot better at gymnastic stuff and I'm going to finally get a pull up. And maybe you just do a lot of extra stuff around that or really focus on that. And then don't beat yourself up if you, I don't know, aren't getting like super great at cleans or something.
Mm,
That one just came to me of like, because I had in my head that I wanted to do all the things better. I wanted to get
mm,
toes to bar and I wanted to do this thing and I need to do this and I didn't know where to start. And I guess maybe if you have an idea of something that you really want to do, then I would ask your coach to help you make a plan of, okay, so I really want to get my first pull up. What do I have to do? And then really spend, if 5 minutes afterwards doing a little accessory work for that instead of thinking I have to just try and do all the things. Maybe
mhm,
there's a season where you just work on the damn double unders.
mhm.
They suck, but
Yeah. And yeah, right. They do. And honestly, like, you don't even have to do all this. Like, if you don't want to, if you're not
right.
like, yeah, I was happy with whatever we did in the class. Like, that was enough of a workout for me, no matter
Hmm.
what. And I was progressing at things, doing them every once in a while. I mean, sometimes it was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen a wall ball in a long time. I suck at them again, or whatever. But like if you want to, if you're like super
Yeah,
gung ho, but if we're
right.
talking to people who, haven't even been to the gym yet, just like there's so much just kind of whatever.
Yeah,
And then, but I think it's a very good suggestion. If you want to get better at a lot of things, just pick one at a
yeah.
time.
Just pick
To
one thing
Yeah.
and then kind of keep track of those things. Like one of I think our things on the list was keep track of your progress or use the little sugar wad app or the Wodify app because there are times when you're increased or improving in incremental ways that you might not notice because it's not some big PR and you didn't get the confetti. I was sharing with you the other day that we had this workout that I was terrible at. It was pull-ups and then, well, it was supposed to be bar muscle up or ring muscle ups.
Wow.
Yeah. So pull-ups for me and then some ring dips and double unders and then wall balls. Because we had done that crazy exercise or WOD where we were doing as many wall balls as possible in a row to get to the 50, I think that really helped. So in this workout, I realized doing the different groupings of the wall balls, I'm now really comfortable doing sets of 6 instead of sets of
Mhm.
5, which that might just seem like, okay, that's nice. But think about if it was in a workout and I had 30. Well, now I'm doing sets of 6 instead of 6 sets of 5,
Mhm.
right? I'm not dropping the ball another time. So those little teeny things are something to celebrate. That day also, I got 15 double unders in a row.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't sneeze.
That's
I
great.
did see that we had double unders on the workout. So I took an allergy pill that my dad had to send me from Michigan because there are no Rite Aids in Colorado.
Yes, she's allergic to double unders, and only the generic Rite Aid
I know, it's so
medicine
dumb.
works.
But I did not have an allergy attack. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
But those little teeny things are important to celebrate, even if you're just celebrating with yourself of like, hell yeah, I'm doing sets of 6 instead of sets of 5. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And I think the app, if you don't have an app, just keeping records somehow is just I know it seems like
You'll have
extra,
an
but
app. Like
I don't think
I think
so.
every place uses one of those
Okay.
apps,
My
and
first one didn't.
definitely, really,
No.
wow. Okay. Yeah, I've been to several gyms so far, and everybody does except
I
for
know.
them.
It was
Yeah.
that was interesting. So,
So yeah, definitely use the app. Like, don't be shy in the beginning and not want to put your score because it's so much lower or slower or lighter or whatever than everybody else. Like, it'll feel good when you see your progress and you
yeah.
get the confetti if you're on sugar water. Don't get the confetti if you're on Wodify. You get a lame little star.
Does it at least like bounce or something?
It does not.
Oh.
I thought I got one last week and I felt I almost texted Trey, like, I feel deprived of confetti, but I held off. I was like, I don't need to bother the coach about that.
Oh, well, I mean, the star should at least like bounce in and like
It does
be exciting.
jack shit.
So you have like the Excel version.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, it's like really, really horrible. Um,
But it is
yeah,
nice when they're like, compare to last whatever, when you did that movement. And then you can
yeah.
go back to that date and be like, oh, what did I do?
And it will
And
help you figure out, if you're doing, yeah, if you don't remember, sometimes like strength work will be based on a certain percentage of your
yeah,
one rep max of something. And you will know what percentage it'll help you with the math and stuff. You can look it up
yeah,
there. So it's worth it.
it is.
Uh, yeah.
Plus, if you're loquacious and you enjoy writing funny things, you can always reflect on your workout and how you felt. I do enjoy reading some people's little
Oh, yeah.
paragraphs that they write because they're
Oh,
quite
wow.
funny about.
Cool.
So it can be entertaining.
Yeah. Listener, if you have any tips
Yeah.
yourself, like if you've been at your place for a little bit or a while, or even if you're a coach or whatever, yeah, please, if you're on YouTube, please add a comment. If
Yeah.
you're just listening, hey, you tune into our social media somewhere.
What did we miss? Oh, I will add, and we were kind of debating on this one. So it definitely is athlete dependent, but if you are, maybe worried about a movement that's coming up or that you're like, what?
Mm,
Utilize YouTube and
mhm.
watch videos. There are thousands, I'm sure there's more than that, of options of watching people do these movements or break them down. And there could be just that little cue that someone else says that really unlocks something that's been a mystery. I find watching the YouTube videos very helpful because I will try to copy exactly what people do.
Mm,
So when I was in tennis, if you taught me a new serve, I'm just going to watch you for a little bit and then
mhm.
I'm going to basically just copy that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think everybody's like that, but it is helpful for some.
Yeah, I agree. And it helps to get hit with it at two different times and
That's a good point.
by two different coaches explaining it in different ways. And also, when you're just by yourself, sometimes you can focus better than
Yeah,
when you're at the
that's
gym with a
very
lot of
true.
people. And yeah,
The fan is on and there's background noise
right, it might be
and
hard to hear, and you only get to see them do it maybe once or twice, and then it doesn't go in
no.
sometimes well enough. So yeah, YouTube can be really helpful. I
Yeah.
like the, what is it, WOD Prep? I think
Mm,
that's I
mhm.
mean, because I haven't looked stuff up very often, but I remember that one. And sometimes they'll put, I don't know if they do this at your gym, but at mine, when they're some of the workouts, they'll put like little videos of what this move is, especially if
Mm,
it's a more unusual thing.
mhm. We did that's I think maybe in our notes, and I don't look at the warm up notes, but we did have that during barbell club. And if there was something, because day 3, we didn't have a coach, it was just more of accessory
Mm,
work and building. And we'd have videos to help us remember what in the world we were supposed to be doing.
Okay, yeah. So if you're a beginner, don't go to that class yet.
No, don't go to barbell club yet.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, that was actually, we were at the end of the class and it was, I think, 8 weeks, 3 times a week. And I asked the coach finally, so if I decided I wanted to get into Olympic lifting and I joined an Olympic lifting gym and that's all I did, like 5 days a week, how long would it take me to be good? And he's like, well, you're considered a beginner for the first 3 years.
Wow.
Oh, so no wonder why I still suck so much. So it does take, like things like Olympic lifting, that is an art,
It's surprisingly tricky.
especially
Yeah.
the snatch for me. Like there's just a lot going on. There's a
Yeah.
lot of,
Yeah, I'm really, really surprised lately, just at how many tweaks I need and things I'm doing wrong each time, or because my background is dance. I mean, that's a lot more complex, you think. This is just
Mhm.
the same damn thing over and over again, pretty much. And but it's surprisingly hard.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. It's very interesting and
it is.
humbling
Yeah.
and all those things all at one time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like not that hard to do it, just to do it, but it's hard
Right.
to do it optimally well so that you can lift it at the most efficient, and so you can do heavier and heavier,
Yeah.
just not just with your strength, but with
Right.
having the best technique.
Exactly. Yeah. You can grind things out, sure. But if you want to, like, I want to look like Christy Pope when she does a snatch. I don't think I'm ever going to get there, honestly, unless I started doing snatches 5 days a week. Because it's just so pretty,
Yeah.
right? Like the physics, it just is.
Yeah, we were watching someone, I can't remember her name right now, but do do a snatch in slow motion, and it was just so cool,
So
like
cool.
how the barbell would just stay there and then her entire body would get under it, like
Yeah.
the bar wasn't moving. She was just like, it
Just
was so cool.
so cool.
Mm.
So cool.
I have to find that video.
It's really fun to watch
Watching it
those
in the gym.
in slow-mo for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Okay, well, maybe we'll do another one like this, like advanced beginners or
Yeah.
beginning intermediates or something like that, because, well, let us know in the comments or on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. Let us know if we missed anything or what's
Yeah, what you
been
would
your
add.
biggest tip that you would give to someone.
Please. Yeah, and send us your questions too. We haven't done an Ask
Oh
Ann
my
and
gosh, we
Annette
have
in a
not done
while.
an Ask Ann
And
and
I
Annette.
think we're not going to do our week in the gym, all that kind of stuff. But if you had any games ready moments you want to share, feel free to do it. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you like the content, and
Share with your friends.
share with your friends. Exactly. And go do it. If you haven't done CrossFit yet,
Yes.
I hope you're motivated. I hope we
I hope you
excite
find
you.
a gym and then
Yeah.
you can tell us how it's
Yeah.
going.
Remember,
Remember,
friends
friends
help
help
friends
friends
stay
stay
fit.
fit.